All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I really wanted to focus in on one of the biggest issues that this Jets offense has, one of the biggest issues that this Jets team has as a whole here. It's the offensive line. This is not just such a simple fix. Oh, we just got to get that one player and we're good. We got to just wait till Aaron Rodgers gets back and everything's fine. No, this has been an ongoing issue really for 4 years, I want to say, since 2019. But when we just look at this season, it has been an absolute disaster. Everybody knows about the injuries, right? Cycling in through tons of different players. I mean, right guard is just like whoever can suit up is going to play, is going to be the starting right guard. That's what it seems like. AVT, the best offensive lineman that the Jets have on their roster, really in the past 2 seasons, has had 2 season-ending injuries. Mekhi Becton obviously is not going to be like the future long-term building block at left tackle. Dwayne Brown is getting paid a ton and is not playing. Does not look like he's going to be back. Connor McGovern, starting center, out for the season. Really the only 2 bright spots, AVT when he's healthy and playing, and then Joe Tippmann. I know he's not putting up perfect production or anything like that, but as a rookie second round pick who, according to the Jets, might not have, started the season out as a backup. That was the initial plan. Connor McGovern won the starting center job. I think we have something there in Joe Tippmann. I loved what he was able to do back at Wisconsin. And who knows, maybe if the Jets have a competent offensive staff next season, we can see, JT take a massive leap forward. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking Keith Carter, Todd Downing, and Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah, we can easily upgrade from really all three of those positions. So with that said, although Joe Tippmann is a major plus, in my opinion, and of course AVT is scheduled to be coming back and he's still on a cheap rookie deal, although we have those 2 great building blocks in place, there's a lot left to be desired at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. Right now, left guard is really interesting because we're talking about Laken Tomlinson, somebody who's getting paid as one of the highest paid guards in football. Joe Douglas gave him a huge contract a couple years ago, and he's just simply not living up to it. The production does not equal the pay whatsoever. So personally, if the Jets want to move on from Laken, I'm totally fine with that. If they feel like they could either get an upgrade or get the same level of production for a lot cheaper of a price. But tackle is really interesting, right? Because if we look at tackle, these slim pickings for the Jets or really any team that wants to upgrade at the tackle position or have significant upgrades at that specific spot once we hit the offseason. Some players to note, Andres Pete, formerly of the New Orleans Saints, Trent Brown, obviously former Patriot and Raider, Tyron Smith from the Dallas Cowboys. But that's really it as far as free agency is concerned as of right now. Right, players could get cut, guys could get hit, thrown on the trade block, things like that could definitely happen. Which if if a bigger name or a productive player or maybe somebody that just fits the system pops up on the trade block, yeah, I want Joe Douglas to be fully interested. And then as far as the draft is concerned, there's a lot of options, but I think really for me the top 2 guys that I'm targeting at the top of the draft. My dude from Penn State, Olu Fashanu, I think he is absolutely tremendous at tackle. I mean, he could have been a top 10 pick last season, but he decided to go back to school and is going to be a top 10 pick again, probably a top 5, top 6 pick, depending on how the board, the draft selection, plays out, where teams stack up. And then, of course, Joe Alt from Notre Dame. I think the Jets would be in a great position drafting either Fashanu or Alt. I really don't feel like you could go wrong with either. Both are great off the field. Both have so much production in pass pro and run blocking. And that leads me to really the kind of the point or the, I guess the inspiration for this video. I was taking a look at some of the rushing numbers that the New York Jets have displayed or put out this season. And my God, is it disappointing. And what's frustrating is that we know how good of a player Breece Hall is. We have seen Dalvin Cook's career play out with the Minnesota Vikings. the Jets, Joe Douglas, they obviously drafted Izzy Abanaconda in round 5. So you don't just draft a guy in the 5th round if you don't know how to use him or if you don't plan on using him, if you don't like his potential. And obviously the team went out and cut Michael Carter, who was on a rookie deal. But we can, I mean, the sack numbers are the sack numbers. Zach Wilson, Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, these guys are all going down. Aaron Rodgers early. All these guys are getting sacked. Is every sack on the offensive line? No. Sometimes the quarterbacks hold on to the football for too long, but we know how bad pass protection has been. That's so obvious. But the one aspect that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, is the run blocking. We cannot run the ball at all, right? There's a lot of fans that really get fed up with the run, 3rd and long pass. It's really not, this crazy concept, run, pass. But what gets frustrating is run, 3rd and long pass. Why are we in 3rd and long? Because there is no success in running the football. When you are in 3rd and long, the defenses can pin their ears back. You're more prone for turnovers. I mean, the Jets don't even attempt to push the ball down the field like 95% of the time. So it's not even like they try to shoot to get a first down. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, we don't really have much success in the running game, right? If you take a look at Breece Hall's total numbers this season, he has 697 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns, right? 3 games left. That means Breece Hall can rush for 3 straight 100-yard games and still not have 1,000 yards to end the season in a 17-game season. That's crazy. Dalvin Cook, 200, who signed this offseason a super expensive 1-year, $7 million contract, 217 rushing yards, no touchdowns, healthy all year. Again, Michael Carter was released. When he was with the New York Jets in the early section of the season, he had 71 rushing yards, no touchdowns. According to Hackett and Saleh, the player that was supposed to step in for Michael Carter, the reason why the Jets went out and released Carter was to elevate Izzy Abanaconda. Well, how's he doing? 18 rushing yards, no touchdowns. So in other words, it's not on one player. It's not on one coach. This is a collective effort. We cannot run the ball. And if you take steps backwards and look at this thing, right, macro perspective, big picture plan, what has been happening in these past couple of years, like we've been hearing that Joe Douglas has been trying to build the offensive line since he's taken over, right? Offensive line guru, former offensive lineman, coming over from Philly, coming over from Baltimore, 2 teams that know how to build their offensive line. But yet we're seeing misses in the draft. We're seeing free agent blunders, if you will, right? You make a solid move, bringing in George Fant. They let him go. He's having a solid year for Houston. Who else? Nate Herbig. Again, circling back to the start of this video, where has been the biggest issue on the offensive line? Right guard. Where did Nate Herbig step in when AVT bounced over to left tackle last season? Right guard. I think that was one of the reasons why the Jets' offensive line had so much success last year. Of course, when AVT was playing, was because we were truly rolling out our best 5. Herbig stepped up and looked like a solid starter, and all of a sudden we're having great blindside protection from Vera Tucker. It just speaks volumes about how great he is as a player individually. But I thought that was an absolute no-brainer, right? Of course, get a quarterback at the time, whoever it was going to be, Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Lamar Jackson, the non-exclusive tag, all these different, Aaron Rodgers, all these different things. But I got to be honest, bringing back Nate Herbig was at the top of my list. This is an obvious move, and they don't do it. And he signs a 2-year cheap deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What else? Morgan Moses, has been a constant anchor for the Baltimore Ravens, right side of their offensive line. Why didn't we bring him back? Douglas has been here again for 4 years. He's pushed all of his chips into the middle of the table. And I understand it. Nobody has control over injuries and whatnot. It's a lot of it is bad luck and stuff. But at some point, you have to look at the roster and say, Dwayne Brown's 37, coming off a season-ending injury. Mekhi Becton is young, but you know what? He's missed the last 2 seasons due to injury. AVT, season-ending injury last year. Max Mitchell, unproven. Joe Tippmann, rookie. Wes Schweitzer, injury concerns. Connor McGovern, I thought, is solid, but as a general manager, again, assuming Rodgers stays healthy, that's the plan that he's deciding to roll out there with, with the starting five on the offensive line looking like that. I mean, talk about a big roll of the dice. Again, injury-prone players, guys that have missed a lot of time, putting so much responsibility and weight on those same guys that miss all the time. Older veterans like Dwayne Brown. Laken Tomlinson not really performing all that great, not living up to the contract. I mean, the Jets have a lot of work cut out for them this offseason to finally fix the offensive line. I think it's a big task. I think we need to figure out who the left tackle, the starting future left tackle is going to be. Whether that's Fashanu, whether that's all, I'm 100% sold on taking a tackle at the top of round 1. That's what I'm doing. That's the silver lining in all of this, right? All the losing and misery on Sundays, we can go out and secure one of the best offensive linemen. Of course, it's not a perfect science, but we can go out and snag one of those guys. That would be great. But what's going to happen with Laken in the future at left guard? Again, AVT's coming back right guard. I'm cool with that. Tippmann at center, I'm cool with that. But right tackle, there's another position that you have to fill. Maybe Trent Brown can come in and fill that void. Again, it's slim pickings here. Maybe, pull off a trade. So that's just the starting five. That's one of the biggest curveballs in this entire thing. We don't even know. We have 2 out of our starting 5 figured out for next season. Our starting 5 went awry in week 1. So now all of a sudden we have to solidify the starting 5 and then start loading up behind them. Right, I like Carter Warren. I have no problems with any of the young, the rookies or anything like that, and even guys like Max Mitchell and whatnot. We know who they are. They're developmental prospects. So that's the hope that they continue to develop as time goes on, as time progresses. You can't expect Max Mitchell to go in there and play like a top 10, top 15 right tackle. It's just not fair to him. That's just that's not him at this point in time. Maybe he is one day, but at this point, it's not. So again, as a win now football team, to me, it's bad business it's not responsible to roll him out and just say he's the starting right tackle. So figure out the starting 5, figure out the depth options behind them. We are going to have to invest, whether Douglas likes it or not. He has to invest money or draft assets, frankly, both, into the offensive line. I don't understand how teams can fix their offensive line at the snap of a finger. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on the offensive line. What move would you make? Are you a big fan of, Andres Pete or something like that? Like, do you have your eyes set on a specific free agent? Do you want to bring a guy like Mekhi Becton back on a super cheap deal? I mean, man, it's not one of those classes where you're going to have like a bunch of top offensive tackles just out in the open market. Unfortunately, right? As much as I would love for that to be the case, it's not. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, go Jets.